The man in the attic window. The house on Blackwood Lane was old, the kind of old that carried the scent of dust, damp wood, and secrets. Elias inherited it from his great aunt, a woman he'd only met once, who was, by all accounts, eccentric and intensely private. He moved in during the late autumn, drawn by the promise of quiet solitude for his writing. The first few weeks were peaceful, if a little lonely. Elias settled into the routine of a hermit. Long days at his desk, and evenings spent reading by the flickering gas fireplace. But the silence, which he had craved, slowly began to feel heavy, as if it were holding its breath. It started subtly. A door he was sure he had closed would be ajar. The scent of pipe tobacco, a smell Elias detested and never permitted, would briefly waft through the hallway, only to vanish moments later. He dismissed it as old house drafts and poor ventilation. Then came the sounds. Light, rhythmic footsteps directly above his bedroom. This was strange, as the space above was the small, unfinished attic, accessible only by a pull-down ladder in the back utility room. Elias knew the attic floor was just rough sawn planks laid over joists. It couldn't support regular walking without protesting loudly. Yet the steps were measured, almost softly shuffling, like someone in old leather slippers. One night, around 2 a.m., the shuffling started again, directly overhead. Annoyed, Elias finally decided to investigate. He found the pull-down cord for the ladder and dragged it down. A fine mist of ancient dust billowed out. He climbed the rickety ladder, the flashlight beam cutting a shaky path through the gloom. The attic was exactly as he expected. A cramped, low-ceilinged space filled with moth-eaten furniture draped in white sheets and dusty boxes. He walked over to where the sound had seemed loudest, near the front-facing window. The floorboards there were thick with undisturbed dust, the layer even and unbroken. There were no footprints. Elias stood motionless. The only sound is ragged breathing. He shone the light toward the window. It was small and rectangular, covered in cobwebs, overlooking the overgrown front garden and the lane beyond. As he watched, a faint, cold mist seemed to swirl just outside the pane. He retreated, perplexed but still grounded in logic. It must be the wind, settling the house, he told himself, pulling the ladder back up. The next morning, his skepticism wavered when he saw a neighborhood kid, Jamie, staring up at the house from the sidewalk. "Hey, Jamie, everything all right?" Elias called out, walking toward him. Jamie jumped, startled, then pointed a small, trembling finger. "Sir, who's the man?" "What man?" "The one in the top window. He stands there sometimes. He looks tired. He was just there, watching." Elias turned and looked up at the small attic window. It was empty. The morning sun glared off the dusty glass. "Jamie, no one's up there. That's just the attic. It's empty." The boy shook his head, his eyes wide with absolute certainty. "He was wearing an old brown suit, sir. And he had a pipe. You could see the smoke inside the glass." Elias felt a chill that had nothing to do with the crisp autumn air. The pipe tobacco smell, the shuffling steps, the small, rectangular window, too high and small to be easily visible from the road, yet somehow perfectly framing a solitary figure. That evening, as the shadows lengthened and the house grew silent, Elias went to his study, but he could not work. He kept glancing at the ceiling. At precisely 2 a.m., The shuffling began again, softer this time, closer to a slow, methodical drag. Elias didn't hesitate. He went to the utility room, but this time, he did not pull down the ladder. He simply stood underneath the trapdoor, flashlight ready. The sound stopped. A long, agonizing silence followed. Then, a single, deep sigh seemed to emanate not from the space above, but from the wood of the door itself. A voice, frail and hollow, seemed to whisper directly into his ear. "I just want to see the trees turn." Elias dropped the flashlight. He stumbled back, heart hammering, and scrambled out of the room. He didn't sleep that night. In the morning, he pulled down the ladder one last time. He climbed up, walked straight to the window, and with his trembling hands, he wiped away the years of dust and cobwebs. He looked out. The view was magnificent. A clear line of sight to the old maple trees in the adjacent park, their leaves now a brilliant, blazing crimson and gold. As he watched, a familiar scent of pipe tobacco filled the attic, stronger than before. But this time, it was accompanied by a feeling of profound, gentle relief. Elias left the window clean and open that day. He never heard the shuffling footsteps again, and no one, not even Jamie, ever saw the man in the brown suit standing in the attic window after the trees had finally turned to fall. Would you like me to write another story? Perhaps a spooky tale about a haunted mirror or a mysterious fog?